Welcome to Tea Time Trio. I'm your host, Dave, here with your other hosts, Jane and Jeffrey.
Hello.
Hello all. Today we will be talking about Chifir, the favorite drink of Russian prisoners.
That's right, but before we get to our topic, we have a daily question for you all, which is, who is your favorite poet?
Yes, my favorite poet is Edgar Allan Poe. Although I don't know him mainly for his poetry, but for his short stories, which I extremely like. I like the stories The Telltale Heart, or The Pit and the Pendulum, or The Red Mask. And even though the stories are not very sunny and happiness all around, I still enjoy a good thriller from Edgar Allan Poe. Jane, who is your favorite poet?
I would have to say that my favorite poet is probably William Shakespeare. I really enjoy reading his sonnets and other shorter works.
Yes, Shakespeare is one of the world's best poets, undoubtedly. Some poets that are more modern, but of comparable quality, are C.S. Lewis, J.R.R. Tolkien, and Dorothy Sayers, all of them part of the Inklings literary group. C.S. Lewis wrote lots of poetry with assonance, which is very interesting to read aloud. Tolkien has a lot of poetry included in his hit book series, The Lord of the Rings, which is popular not only in his home country of England, but all around the world. And Dorothy Sayers, I haven't read a lot by her, but she translated the Song of Roland, which is originally in French, into English. And it is a fantastic translation, a poetic translation that I would highly recommend. So those are some of my favorite poets.
So everybody, go to the library, flock to the nearest poetry section, and get those books and read them. Do not let your minds go to waste. Don't let them go to waste as they sit molding and in very unorganized fashion as you watch this computer screens and all the lights flicker. No, revolt against the ordinary and go and get poetry books and read them!
That was truly inspiring.
It was. It reminded me of the
Thank
time
you.
that my mum told me after watching a show that my brain was turning to oatmeal. And she said, now you can reverse this horrid thing from happening to your brain by reading poetry. So you are right on track, Mr. Dave.
So now we are moving on to our topic of Chifir.
If you haven't heard of Chifir, that's probably because you're not an incarcerated Soviet prisoner. According to wikipedia.com, Chifir is an exceptionally strong tea associated with and brewed in Soviet and post-Soviet detention facilities such as gulags and prisons.
What's a gulag? It sounds like a dessert.
Actually, it's not a dessert.
It sounds pretty tasty.
You could try one if you wanted. Just go to Russia and not be a communist.
When I was researching this drink, I discovered that it is incredibly dangerous.
What sort of effect does it have on people?
For starters, once you drink it, it begins to depress your nervous system, which eventually translates into neurosis, depression, and disorders of consciousness. Nobody wants that. Additionally, the work of the heart and the brain also deteriorate, and this increases the risk of emergencies even at a young age. The drinking of this drink is also often accompanied by digestive disorders, which manifest themselves in the form of constipation, diarrhea, and abdominal pain.
Sounds lovely.
One time when I was exploring Soviet Russia, I came across a prison and I decided to go inside because I like to minister to prisoners. And I became friends with this one lovely young man named Riley, and he introduced me to this drink, Chifir. And I have to say that it was quite delicious, but within 20 minutes, I was suffering from excessive sweating, tremors in my hands and feet, palpitations. I also had quite the headache and mental fog the next morning. But me and my buddy Riley, we had quite the time. We had quite the time sharing a cup of this chipper over this lunch break. Also, when I was about halfway through my cup of chipper, a bunch of prisoners surrounded me and started chanting, "Chug, chug, chug," just like they do in the movies. And well, I am of a very competitive nature, and so I did just that. I chugged according to their wishes and regretted it. And after several fits of vomiting, I decided that Russia's not for me, Riley's not for me, Chifir's not for me, and prison outreach is not for me. So yes, that was my experience with Chifir.
Wow, that is very interesting, Jane.
I have a question concerning this man. Does he have a Chifir addiction? Because I've heard that it's highly addictive, similar to alcohol.
Yes, indeed he does. That is, in fact, the reason he was incarcerated in the first place. He was giving cups of Chifir to unsuspecting children in a shopping mall when the police were notified by an unsuspecting old lady who observed the event as she was feeding birds on the sidewalk. She noticed the unusual behavior in the young children, put two and two together and called the police, and he was promptly arrested.
Well, I'm glad to hear that there are still old women in the world that, can call the police on when that happens. That's good.
I'm also glad there are old women in the world.
That is very interesting about Chifir. So what I think about Chifir is
we interrupt this broadcast. This is the National Russian Association of Chifir. If you do not stop making bad comments on Chifir, we will have to take action. I will not describe action to leave you in anticipation and anxiety. This is Russia Chifir.
well, that was weird. As I've always said, Chifir is very healthy and good for you. So drink more Chifir.
Yum, yum.
And now we have a surprise interview with Stephanie Callahan.
I was able to track her down through 5 supermarkets, down 10 alleys, down 3.5 beaches, and finally, after breaking one of her tires, I have managed to catch her for an interview. Here is the great, the awesome Stephanie Callahan, an interview with her.
Did you say you broke my car? Dude, you're gonna have to pay for that.
I know, but I mean, I really want to interview with you. It could bring so much publicity to the podcast. You're so popular on Instagram, stuff like that.
What makes you think I'm gonna post your stupid podcast on my Instagram?
Well, no, it's that we'll post stuff about you and everybody will like it.
But
So
you have no followers.
yes, we do.
You have 23.
We have plenty of followers. Enough. And also, I have here someone you may not know. His name is Jeffrey, all the way from England, saying hello.
From England?
Hello, I have taken an express jet flight all the way to the sunny beaches of California.
Jeffrey seems to be standing in stunned amazement.
Well,
You may proceed
hello.
with said interview, my good colleague Dave.
As you see, Jeffrey is suffering from the express lag, but
I have that effect on people. It's not anything to be ashamed of.
Stephanie, have you ever had drugs?
I live in California.
So that obviously means you probably had Chifir. Have you not?
What is Chifir exactly?
I thought you had. You kind of looked a little Russian to me, so I thought you.
Russian? Excuse me, my last name is Callahan.
Yeah, so Chifir is actually made out of black tea leaves, and it kind of has the effects of a drug, which is
I
pretty interesting.
Love black tea. I drink it straight, just like
Nice.
my coffee. Black is my soul, baby.
Do you have a lot of it each day? Because you know that can
Yes.
affect a lot of bodily functions. I have here beside me something complimentary from TTT Tea Time Trio. Right here, I have a new bike for you.
Really? Is that to replace my car that you damaged?
Yes. So now instead of using your legs to push the pedals, you know, the brakes and the go, you can actually just hop on the bike and use your legs.
I'm sorry. Let me interrupt you. I'm all about save the planet, hashtag save the baby turtle, but I can't be seen riding a bicycle. That's just pathetic.
But I mean, you're really going green. You can use your legs to pump up those hills, you know, those California hills.
I find myself avoiding all types of physical exertion. So I'm going to have to say no, turn you down, and ask you to pay for a new wheel, for a new tire. I didn't get it.
You know, Stephanie, I think we can solve this problem. You know, I think we've been getting a lot of donations on our Patreon, and I think that it would be a good idea for Tea Time Trio to just give you a brand new Aston Martin straight from the United Kingdom to replace your terrible American-made car.
Thank you, Jeffrey. I really appreciate it. See, Dave, that's a stand-up person right there. You should be forking over all your money, all your worldly possessions, just to make me happy.
Okay. So I'm just gonna say goodbye. Okay, to you.
Don't say bye to me. No one can ever say bye to me. I have to say bye to you.
I know, but we have to end this interview.
This is suppression.
It is not suppression. We
Yes,
just
it
gave
is.
you.
I have things to
we just
say.
we gave you a lot. We gave you a lot of
So
stuff.
you know what? You know what, Stephanie? What things do you have to say?
I have very important things to say, Jeffrey. But you wouldn't
Such as-
understand.
Oh, I wouldn't understand. I see. I, who have been educated in Oxford 5 times, wouldn't understand your small-minded Californian ideas.
When you say you've been educated at Oxford 5 times, do you mean that you've stepped foot on campus 5 times, or that you've been through their program 5 times?
If our education is determined by where we walk, then
Then I'm really smart because I have walked all the campuses that are in California. Yeah, because
Well, I'm going to
you know, the
interrupt.
Paragon of education.
Excuse me.
Dave, I'm sorry,
I'm
you
going-
can't have
I'm
the
going-
chance anymore.
I'm going to
You're
interrupt.
done.
I'm gonna.
Goodbye.
I'm gonna interrupt this weird happenings, and I'm just gonna say the interview is over. Goodbye, Stephanie.
I need my car, my new car.
Weren't you given one by Jeffrey?
You have to bring it to me right now.
Jeffrey, love is a fickle thing. Let's get out of here.
Wait, are you in love with me, Dave?
Of course not.
Uh-huh. Then why did you track me through 20 alleys, 3.5 beaches, and however many other
Because
shopping malls?
I don't care about you. I care about the Tea Time Trio, and I am
Oh,
Dave.
so you want me to spill the tea on all the trendy?
personally, I do
Yeah.
have questions. The other day, Dave, you were talking about how you were following this person on Instagram and Snapchat. Who was that again?
That was
that was just a sports college. Yeah, they were having a really good football team, so I was just liking all their highlights and stuff like that.
Well, I just
Yeah.
saw that Dave.ttt. I'm not British, but I wish I was. Liked all my posts
Well, look
and started following me.
look at your phone again. You should see that that person just unfollowed you.
See, Dave, I'm sorry. I don't think it matters if you unfollowed her on your phone, if you started following her in real life.
Exactly.
What? Like I had to blackmail her and all that stuff just to get her outside so I could track her down? No, of course not.
Dave, I think we're going to have to end this interview before we have to call the authorities.
Yeah, but yeah, I just feel like here, I'll give you $100. You don't call the police. Me and Jeffrey, we walk away and we're all just fine. So yes, this is the end of the interview. Say goodbye, Jeffrey.
Goodbye, Jeffrey. So are you guys seriously gonna just leave me on the beach?
Yeah.
Leave me with the seagulls and my sandy sandals
And your
a
car.
half-eaten sandwich that I'm about to throw at your face.
And a broken car. Don't forget that. But remember, we're a Tea Time Trio, so you can't sue us because we're a non-profit.
How about I join the trio?
No, Ron Jeffrey. This has been the interview. Goodbye. Well, that was a good episode, but that's all the time we have for today, kids. So thank you for listening to Tea Time Trio. I'm your host, Dave, here with your other hosts, Jane and Jeffrey. Goodbye.
Bye.
Don't get high. I mean, goodbye.